What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The Resistance. Welcome everyone to The Resistance, the best Watch Dogs podcast here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. As a reminder of our scheduled programming, which is every single day, guys, there are new shows going up on the YouTube channel. On Mondays is the Gears Cast, which is the Gears of War podcast. On Tuesdays is The Resistance, which of course is the Watch Dogs podcast. On Wednesdays is Zero Dark, which is the Call of Duty podcast. Thursdays is The Last Cast, which is the Last of Us podcast. Fridays is For the Swarm, which is the StarCraft podcast. On Sundays, or I should say Saturdays, is the 8 Below Show, which is a gaming and entertainment show. And then on Sundays is Zero Questions, Zero Answers, which is our Q&A show. And that is our full lineup of content, guys, on a daily basis you guys can take in. I hope you guys do enjoy, and I want to say thank you so much for all of you who are showing a massive amount of support to the channel. I really appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. Really helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you're new, and let's get into the show. There have been questions about accessibility here with Watch Dogs Legion, and this is something I wanted to start the show with by talking about an article that was written, of course, by Ubisoft, and that being Giancarlo Vernini, who wrote, guys, about addressing the accessibility here in Watch Dogs Legion. I thought this was really important, so we'll go ahead and let's go through it. So Watch Dogs Legion will launch with a wide array of gameplay customization features ranging from fully customizable controls to directional audio captions. These are part of Ubisoft's ongoing effort to make its games as accessible as possible and to remove potential obstacles for those who want to play them. Why are customization features important for accessibility? A major part of giving games longevity has always been player customization. Giving players more ways to approach a game differently goes a long way towards keeping them invested. So this is very true in my opinion, guys, having a lot of customization features. The big question, though, I think that a lot of us wonder about is how much of that customization are like earnable items and how much of those are payable items? Well, is there a foundational layer of options that the team was aiming for and wanted to build that for Watch Dogs Legion? Watch Dogs 2 accessibility and customization options were the beginning of a love story for our team. First, we started developing options for PC like a multiple slot save system, customizable controls page, input adaptation for a variety of devices, and a video options menu. Shortly after adding those, we realized that there is significantly more we could explore and improve on all platforms. What lessons did you learn from previous Ubisoft games, and how has the feature list for Watch Dogs Legion grown as a result? So this is pretty important. The most important lesson to remember is that we need to start as early as possible and try to make sure everything can be scalable. The UI, HUD, menus, and options. We also work closely with other dev teams, including those on Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and Ghost Recon, to identify design struggles and tech risks. So I think this is really important to hear, guys. When you hear need to start as early as possible to try to make sure everything can be like scalable. That's really important in my personal opinion as well. When it comes to these games, guys, obviously Watch Dogs Legion being delayed, the length of time it was delayed for, I think it's given the developer a nice amount of time to really kind of get everything to where they feel comfortable, and that's exciting as well. Now, is there a feedback process for getting these features into Watch Dogs Legion? The feedback process is constant. We investigate, prototype, review, submit, test, and then we're back at it again. Our product directors play a big role in helping us to align the features with the overall game and promise. Also, we have a solid playtest schedule that's both internal and external, so we can identify how different design techniques and decisions affect or improve how the features are perceived. One thing, guys, that I will say about Watch Dogs Legion, this is a perfect title, in my personal opinion, just by looking at, like, you look at Deadset, just this obviously this group of people, this team that's working together to pretty much solve the same goals, right? Everyone's trying to take down the dictatorship that's going on in post-Brexit London. And with that, it kind of creates this element of a lot of the characters obviously are behind masks and such, which is really interesting, but it also creates a ton of customization options and such. And so I think that this is a game that's perfect to have multiple layers of customization, from what they're talking about all the way to, with the characters and to the different types of masks you're wearing, the different skins on your guns, the character, clothing, things of that nature can really, just get you to put so much time into this game. Now, feedback from influencers who played the Ubisoft Forward demo for Watch Dogs Legion included ideas for possible improvements to accessibility features. Is there a specific example of these learnings that the team is working on for launch? Including accessibility in our demos for Ubisoft Forward has been an interesting and challenging experience. The feedback received from our players was extremely useful, and yes, we will address it for launch. To give you some examples of things we learned, there is a cognitive overload of audio captions, auto aiming, and auto camera prevent shooting from cover and using the escape key to exit drones, hijack vehicles, etc. ends up being exhausting. Also, there are a lot of things going on at once in Watch Dogs Legion. Did the team consider cognitive accessibility when designing the game? We have several systems helping to reduce a number of subtitles displayed at the same time. We enabled the option to filter the gameplay events captions to 2 or 4 lines at the same time. Puzzles are always accompanied by hints, and there is a new simplified puzzle feature that assists with cognitive barriers relating to hacking puzzles. I'm excited to see really what hacking puzzles is going to be all about, guys. I'm excited about that, to see an evolution of that, what that could maybe mean here with Watch Dogs Legion. Now, in addition to player-activated options, some features are baked right into the gameplay, like Albion guards making a sound when they wind up to swing a baton. How easy or challenging was it to bring that kind of thinking of looking for ways to integrate accessibility more broadly and subtly into the design process? This question has the answer inside. The most challenging was to find a proper way to identify accessibility barriers in order to remove them before the game is released. To achieve this, we had to follow best practices, try to involve disabled players to provide feedback before release, and ultimately think about accessibility as a tool that will benefit everyone. So, what do we consider a success when it comes to these features? An immediate success is Ubisoft Forward, as it was our first demo baked with accessibility features. The feedback we received is extremely important, helps us adjust in the remaining time until the game is released. So I'm really glad to hear, guys, that there is, that there's a lot that they are putting into the accessibility options here when we're talking Watch Dogs Legion. It's really good hearing this. As far as on consoles and PC, gamepad controls are fully customizable, including the analog stick sensitivity and inversion across both axes, toggle hold options for cameras such as walking, aiming, hacking, wheel weapon mode, climbing, sprinting, and emote wheel for any input device. And what I like about it, though, guys, is that there's just so many different ways here for accessibility. And I know that that's pretty much the norm. It's pretty much standard to the industry at large. But it's good to see that they're really trying to kind of make these things as smooth of an experience as possible, between, from customizations to different, gameplay mechanics, all the way to, of course, accessibilities. These are all things that are going to help, make a really fun experience for us, the player, when we're talking Watch Dogs Legion as a whole. And so overall, guys, all of this is what I want to hear. Obviously, we're going to have to wait till the final product comes out later this year. I'm incredibly excited about Watch Dogs Legion for a number of reasons, guys. And I think that people have had lots of questions about what the accessibility is going to be like. What are we looking at when it comes to monetization and things of that nature? Because I feel like, guys, with so many different characters, you're able to play as anyone. There's going to be so many different ways that they're able to customize these characters. Whether those are earnable items or payable items is something that we're going to be yet to be seen at this point. But let me know what you guys think about the accessibility now that is going to be here in Watch Dogs Legion. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's have a real conversation about it. The excitement is building for Watch Dogs Legion coming out later this year. And with that, guys, there have been a lot of theories and a lot of speculation and talk as to what this game is all going to encompass when it releases. And what I wanted to go ahead and talk about here in this segment of the show is talk about some of the theories of Watch Dogs Legion as of late. Some of the ones that I've heard that kind of caught my eye and got me thinking myself. Even some of these have been something that I've thought of beforehand, but I definitely want to know from you guys, what do you guys think are some of the closest theories that you would say could very well be true moving into Watch Dogs Legion? So let me know, like I said, in the comment section down below, and let's get into it. So number one for me, guys, the number one theory that I've been hearing and something I've actually made a video about on the YouTube channel previously was that the Watch Dogs Legion, as in just Legion as a whole, is actually within the Hyperscape universe. And so, or Hyperscape is in the Watch Dogs universe, however you want to look at it. Hyperscape, guys, is obviously the Battle Royale that came out from Ubisoft, and it's a free-to-play BR, but it's a futuristic Battle Royale. Now, a lot of people are obviously saying that this theory is not going to be true and shows no real bearings because it's a third-person shooter, that being, of course, Watch Dogs Legion, versus a first-person shooter that is, of course, Hyperscape. However, guys, just because one is third-person and the other is a first-person does not necessarily mean that they're not within the same universe. It's pretty unlikely, but at the same time, when you look at Hyperscape, and I remember from watching others play it, I remember watching from the initial trailers and such, I thought to myself, there is an opportunity here, or a chance, that they're going to use Hyperscape to actually promote a lot of their other projects moving forward, that being Ubisoft. And Hyperscape obviously has not been quite as popular as other battle royales out there. However, this is definitely still a BR out there that could certainly, Ubisoft could use to show off some of their future projects, similar to like what Call of Duty's doing with Warzone, promoting some of their, future projects and things of that nature that they're working on. So could Watch Dogs Legion be in the Hyperscape universe? I think it's possible, but it's pretty unlikely. Obviously, in Hyperscape, you're able to jump really high. You're able to do all these different maneuvers. Watch Dogs Legion is a little bit more grounded in from that standpoint. Even though you're able to hack and do things of that nature to kind of traverse the world that is around you, I just don't feel, after watching enough of Hyperscape and kind of course, seeing game footage from Watch Dogs Legion, it's certainly possible, but I don't think Ubisoft's going in that direction. That leads me to number two, which is a theory that came out was that this game is going to tie into Watch Dogs 2, or the end of Watch Dogs 2. In one way or another, Watch Dogs Legion will tie into Watch Dogs 2. And so there's a big theory here that that's probably going to happen, which obviously it's hard to say at this point in time whether or not it's going to do. I would say, guys, it's definitely possible, though. Really, any of these are all theories. Any of them are essentially possible, but I would say that the Watch Dogs 2 theory that this is going to actually tie into Watch Dogs 2 in one capacity or another is much more likely than that of Hyperscape, but it's hard to say. Obviously this is a game that's being presented that it's going to be, a continuation. It's not called Watch Dogs 3, which is something we have to look at, because there's a reason that they're not calling it Watch Dogs 3. They're calling this Watch Dogs Legion. Whether that means they kind of want this to actually be somewhat of a soft reboot, or they want this to be the next, the title for the next number of years, like they don't end up making a Watch Dogs 4 or something. They want this to be the game, and then they make a Watch Dogs Legion 2 kind of thing, or something of that nature. It's hard to say what direction they're thinking about going in here, but I would say that there's definitely a possibility, absolutely, that this ties in some way, shape, or form to Watch Dogs 2. That leads me to number 3, which is a more interesting theory, to say the least. One that I would certainly be open for in some capacity or another. Now, there's been a number of people that have been talking about some of the gameplay and the mechanics within Watch Dogs Legion, and one of those is the simple fact that there's a number of times where you see stealth mechanics in this game. And you know where I'm probably going with this. The thought that maybe, just maybe, this game is going to tie in, or we're going to see a cameo or a kind of show us that this universe that is Watch Dogs Legion is also in the Splinter Cell universe. Yes, guys, Sam Fisher, could he make a cameo, or could he just be within this world as well to give us more information that, yes, they're still thinking about, Splinter Cell, which we obviously know with Elite Squad, but people have been wanting a solo, Splinter Cell game for quite some time, another property owned by Ubisoft. So one of the theories is that he is actually a part of Deadset, and that he is going to essentially be a playable character at some point or another in the future, that being Sam Fisher. Now, it'd be a very interesting concept to say the least. I would absolutely be down with it, without a doubt. I'm hoping that Sam Fisher is within this universe. Part of me wants a standalone Splinter Cell game, but having a cameo like we saw in Ghost Recon Wildlands, I believe it was, with Sam Fisher being in that, and then of course him being in Elite Squad. This would be perfect. If he was a playable character, would be really awesome. If it kind of showed that, a lot of these universes are actually within, the same world. These franchises, I should say, within the same world. Kind of like Splinter Cell being in the Ghost Recon universe. Could Watch Dogs be in the same universe as Splinter Cell, and so on and so forth. It's an interesting concept, and there's a lot of people thinking that Sam Fisher's going to have a big, something big here in this game. There's just a theory around it that maybe he's one of the leaders of Deadset that we just don't know about at this point. It's an interesting concept, to say the least, which I would be open for. Absolutely. I would be very much so open to be seeing what happens with that. I think Ubisoft would be really smart to do that. It'd be a great marketing tool as well, which obviously they haven't marketed it like that. So most likely, they're either going to want this to be a surprise, or it's not happening at all. With that, that leads me to the last one, guys. And this is a really interesting one, because it's hard to say whether or not, obviously with any of these theories, you kind of have to take them with a pinch of salt, because there's no, these aren't confirmed. These are just, widely speculative types of theories and such. But the last one is that this game actually has no ties whatsoever to the first two Watch Dogs games, and it's completely separate, and they're kind of presenting it like this is Watch Dogs 3, and that's been kind of what has been stated by Ubisoft, that this is a continuation, but it's kind of almost a reimagining of Watch Dogs. But there's a theory that this has absolutely nothing to do with the first two Watch Dogs games. This is going to be a standalone game, and they're really banking, going all in on this Watch Dogs title to kind of lead us into the future of these games. And there's a theory that it has no ties whatsoever. We won't be seeing any ties to just Watch Dogs 1 or 2, and that it is just completely, a separate thing, kind of like a reboot, but just totally not within that same universe. And I don't believe that that this is something that I'm buying at this point in time, guys, that it's like not within the universe, because it's called Watch Dogs. It's definitely within this universe of the first two games. What that looks like, is it before, is it after, or is it in the present day? There's a lot of questions regarding that, and what Ubisoft is saying, that's its continuation of Watch Dogs 2. But I think that, we might be looking too far into it at that point with that theory, just because it is called Watch Dogs. Could it be a soft reboot? Absolutely. Could it be something that they want this to be a reimagining of Watch Dogs? Absolutely. But it not being in the same universe, or, being something completely separate, like like Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2 like never happened and it's just Watch Dogs Legion. I'm not buying that for a second, because the first two games, guys, I thought were special in what they were, and obviously the gameplay and mechanics are essentially the same. Sure, they've changed things in Watch Dogs Legion, but it's overall pretty much the exact same thing, just added abilities, added mechanics, and things of that nature. But with that, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts, and I would love to hear some other theories. If there are other theories out there that you guys are hearing that are kind of going around the community, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's have a real conversation about it. Even though we know a lot about Watch Dogs Legion at this point in time, and it's only months away until we're going to get our hands on the final product, I thought it was important to talk about one aspect that is a huge aspect, of course, and a huge, has a huge role within this story of Watch Dogs Legion, that being Deadset, guys. This is the corporation, the team of people that you're recruiting to, that you are trying to take down, and you're all going towards have similar goals, trying to take down this dictatorship that's going on in post-Brexit London. And so what I want to talk about is who started Deadset, because I think that there's a lot of history here that a lot of you out there, even myself included, didn't really know much about Deadset. We knew the overall gist of what this group was, but I think it's important because when you got a bunch of guys and girls behind masks and you aren't able to put a face to the voice necessarily in a lot of sequences, it's something that you definitely want to know. So let's talk about it. So according to the fandom page for Watch Dogs wiki, that is, DedSec is a secret hacking collective featured in the Watch Dogs series. Some of their most noteworthy members include Clara Lil, who directly assists Aiden Pierce, Marcus Holloway, and his band of hackers, which include Wrench, Sitara, Josh, and until his death, Horatio. Now, DedSec is a notorious hacking collective that operates in Watch Dogs' rendition of Chicago. They are not affiliated with Aiden Pierce, though he does have dealings with some of its members. The group itself is opposed to the implementation and use of the CTOS and has the objective of proving that the system is flawed and unnecessary. The group's members hack into various CTOS systems for destructive purposes in order to highlight its weaknesses and vulnerabilities. One way in which DedSec have voiced their opinion and made their presence known to the public was through their seizure of the CTOS official website. The website was seized and then subsequently transformed into an ambiguous advertisement page. The page was turned entirely black and covered with the DedSec logo, formed from an ASCII characters. Similarly, tagging and graffiti has been sprayed onto a number of CTOS advertisement media and other Chicago signposts. So, it is revealed by Clara under the identity Bad Boy 17 that DedSec has an aggressive side where they unsuccessfully tried to attack a CTOS center in the loop. And as a result of that failed attack, Bloom added more armed guards to the center. This is given further credibility during the end credits of Watch Dogs, where a broadcast states they won't tolerate being ignored any longer. In Watch Dogs 2, where in one audio log left by another of their members, Horatio Carlin, he states that if there was a bar ranging from activists to anarchists, they'd probably fill the whole thing. Additionally, that same audio log implies there are multiple branches of DedSec, as Horatio stated that he ran a few ops with the Council of Days to see what worked for them and try to adapt it to the members of the Bay Area, before realizing the Chicago and San Francisco branches of DedSec couldn't be more different from each other. Now, it's interesting, guys, DedSec can trace their origins back to Umeni, which at one point sent many of their engineers to prison. Subsequently, after being released, many of them went on to form the group and fight against corporate injustice and corruption. At some point in the game, they contact Aiden Pierce to target many corrupt Umeni executives to have the revenge, and later on contact him again to infiltrate Danny Sosumi's mansion to recover data stolen from them. So what's interesting, guys, is that there's not necessarily just one person, and that's what I think is really awesome about DedSec. We can't really put this on necessarily one person, that one person started this thing. It's like it's a combination of a number of different people that have the same goal and goals in general, and it's very interesting. Near the end of the game, they contact Aiden again before he is about to take control of the CTOS satellite to ask for 30 seconds to search through the system and collect all data necessary that could help them in their quest for justice. However, Aiden refused to do so, and Deadset warned that they will not forget this. It was revealed to one of their broadcasts during the credits that they are tired of people ignoring their warnings, stating their reputation has been damaged and that they had been attacked by other hackers such as Default, declaring a digital war upon Bloom and the citizens of Chicago. Now, Watch Dogs Bad Blood. During the Council of Dave's investigations, it was revealed that one of Deadset's leaders had grown tired of the other Daves, wanting more to stroke their own egos through social media than bring real change, in which to further militarize Deadset. The rogue Dave lured Dave 04 and Dave ZB over to the Ambrose Theater, Default's old haunt, and murdered them, then coded a video of Default's meeting with the Daves into a QR square on the Pawnee Dam as a message to the other Daves to implicate Default. So obviously, guys, Deadset has been around now for, between like the entire universe as a whole. But what's interesting is that this is a group, right? And sure, it becomes a militarized group, and we as especially moving into Watch Dogs Legion in particular, we're working together to solve, the same thing. I mean, essentially taking down these dictatorships and that are going on in London, and you're working together to make those things, to make those things happen and kind of really militarize one another and kind of, recruit anyone, become, as powerful as possible so that Deadset's able to take over. And that's something that's going to be really interesting moving into Watch Dogs Legion, I think, guys. There's so many like audio logs and just so much history here to Deadset. It's a pretty awesome ordeal. I think, guys, that we're going to learn more and more, of course. Once, obviously, once we play Watch Dogs Legion, what's interesting is that the location of Deadset is worldwide, but it's prominent in Chicago, San Francisco, and London. But it's worldwide, which is really awesome. And so that tells you that this is a worldwide group. It's not just a group that is, in a couple of locations. It's all over the world. It's a very interesting, guys, very interesting concept. What do you guys think about it, though? Who do you think really officially started this group, Deadset? Let me know what you guys think, and let's have a real conversation about it. One of the biggest concerns I've been having about Watch Dogs Legion in particular is the multiplayer side of things, guys. And the reason is because it doesn't seem like there's going to be much that they're offering, at least on the surface. We don't know what Ubisoft's going to add later on. Any kind of endgame content and things of that nature will obviously be something that is yet to be seen. However, what I want to talk about in this segment of the show is Watch Dogs Online and the concept here. Even though it has not been confirmed, this is just purely speculation, but I think it could be a great ordeal for Watch Dogs Legion, moving us into this game and such. And so what I want to talk about here is how Watch Dogs and Ubisoft can kind of take a page out of the GTA book and really run with this idea. So what I'm getting at here, guys, is obviously Grand Theft Auto, or GTA. Rockstar has done an incredible job with that franchise up to this point in time. And what they've really done, I think, was probably the biggest move for them, was creating GTA Online, which obviously, guys, is just a living, breathing space in which you can go play with your friends, missions, all kinds of different things. It's being updated consistently, and it's similar to like Red Dead Online, and it's widely successful for Rockstar and just GTA as a whole. So what I'm getting at is, what if Watch Dogs did this as well? What if they went ahead and created a Watch Dogs Online or something of that nature, and it just was a place in which you could go with your friends, very similar to maybe something like GTA Online, where it's consistently updated, you're able to play different game modes, you're able to do all kinds of different things within the world. I think it could be something really special, because at the end of the day, guys, Watch Dogs it sounds like, at least as of right now, they're going to have co-op, which is great. But when you don't have other multiplayer modes, now it sounds like they are going to probably have some endgame content. They're going to add new like content along the way and along the journey of the, the overall, shelf life of Watch Dogs Legion. But it just does concern me when you only hear co-op and you're not hearing really much else outside of that. What they could do is maybe what they do with The Division, having that endgame content that people really enjoy and such. There's a real possibility that they will do that with Watch Dogs Legion. However, there's a chance that they won't. It's hard to say, guys. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see at this point in time. So what I'm hoping for, at least as of right now, is that we get a Watch Dogs Online or something of that sort where it's a place that we're able to go after we beat the campaign. Because most of the time, guys, if you beat the campaign one time, you might play some co-op missions with your friends or whatever the case might be. But afterwards, you're probably going to move on to another game. End game content and such is going to keep you coming back, which is great, but it all really depends on what that end game content all is. The same thing can be said for, new DLC and things of that nature when those things come out. I think Watch Dogs Online could be a huge move for, just Ubisoft and the Watch Dogs universe moving forward, especially if this was like a free-to-play online experience for people that could just try the game out. I think it would really grow the fan base and this franchise as a whole. But all in all, guys, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this. These are my concerns. I just am concerned about the multiplayer side of Watch Dogs Legion. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Would you be up for a Watch Dogs Online or something of that sort? So let me know and let's have a real conversation about it. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of The Resistance. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.